of the IOU mural that was there before the Truman College. And what we want to do is commemorate that time period by showing that big mural and reproducing it in the form of a fresh painting for folks to not only commemorate that time, but for them to view in terms of art.
My questions relate to energy, environment, and climate. I talked to Alderman Hoppingworth about two issues before, and I think this concerns all of you. The first thing was that, at Truman College, where I tutor science and math, we have a automotive institute. Unfortunately, it trains students to just work on fossil fuel paradigm. But with the new national program for electric vehicle recharging, it seemed to me that we should explore the movement of the Truman College Auto Center into having one of these state recharging stations. I'm not speaking for the administration, but for myself as a person involved in science and environmental issues. I just think that would be a step forward for the students and for the community too. Why not have an electric vehicle recharging station at a place where you're educating people to work on cars? The issue with the air pollution induced by the asphalt plant adjacent to McKinley Park. I remember when Governor Pritzker was running for governor, I handed him some petitions from the community people who allege that the area directly next to the plant was rezoned in order to accommodate industry. It was residential beforehand. The allegation was that there was a bribery there, and the reason there was no community input, it was rezoned overnight. Can we have the Illinois Attorney General investigate this allegation of a bribe which got the asphalt plant position there? And I have another issue which concerns my own community. I live in the 39th Ward, Alderman Samantha Nugent's, and I talked to Alderman Nugent back before she was running for re-election about what happened at North Park Village where I live. I was there some years ago when Mayor Daley had installed a solar energy panel. And then I heard maybe some months before that the panel was discontinued because it's more economical to continue fossil fuels. So I was really outraged that we would retrogress backward. What does it say to our young people that seniors are discontinuing use of renewable energy? So I asked Alderman Nugent when she looked into that. I asked her before November, and I've not heard back from her since.
I have something that I would like to bring up, and that is the policing in our district. And not just the policing as you normally think of it, but the nuts and bolts type of policing, like traffic tickets given out to people who hit people, like our member here who got hit by a car right on the corner. And also bus stops. Police never patrol the bus stops. And there's always some sort of delivery truck in the bus stop where I catch the bus, which means the bus cannot pull up to the corner, which means I have a hell of a time to get on the bus, even when they lower the step.
I'm worried because at Memorial Day, I was with a group of friends and people were talking about leaving the city. I've been in Chicago 31 years. The first part of my life, I was in Detroit that witnessed unimaginable flight from the city. First white flight, and then it was middle-class African-American flight. And I saw the hopes and the dreams and all the progressive movements being just shot dead because there just was no money left in there. So that being the challenge of the era is like, how do we continue to attract people?
I started attending something called the Progressive Democrats of America many years ago. And they were always talking about how we'll have this progressive thing, we'll put it forward and blah, blah, blah. And I stopped coming because there was no progressive movement in the city government or anywhere. And I said, when is that going to happen? Now it looks like it's going to happen. Look at who we have on the platform here. We have minority people, we have women, we have various sexual categories, we have artists. So how do you explain this metamorphosis? Metamorphosis,
The metamorphosis of where we are today.
yeah,
How did we get here?
Yeah.
We're mad.
You're mad.
We're mad. We don't like the way that things are, the direction that we're going. We love this city. We want a reason to stay. We want reasons for people to come, families to go to the school, people to ride the PTA. And reasons to love the art around our town. There's joy here. There are youth here. There are ordinances that we need to pass to make sure that people, especially our young Black and brown men on the south and west sides, have things to do. We have to end the food deserts. We have to end these mass parcels of land which have nothing on them because the buildings were raised. For what reasons? I don't know. You know, we know that there have been parts of the city that have been disinvested in since the beginning of our time. And we know that policing is a racist institution because that's the way it started. And we know that we are not going to be able to end, you know, all the terribleness that is within cities, but the city is where we're going to find work. It's where we're going to find community. It's where we have found community. And the reason we want to stay is because of community. So we want to make it better for everybody. And that is the reason why we're here today. We have the most progressive city council in history, the most diverse, with more LGBTQ people and with more siblings of immigrants, families, with more women, with more people who have a feminist perspective, in that when we come together, we can do so much more, but we can't rely on the things that we have been continuing to rely on in the past because they don't work. It's not enough to put more money into policing. We already do. We are one of the high, like per capita, dollar per dollar, spending so much on the police and it's not working. So we have to look at that system. Everything is a system and a structure. How are we using that system so that it is good, not just for a few people, but for everybody, everybody.
Now I understand how you got elected.